welcome back to Motoroids. My name is Vipul and today we are driving the all-new Skoda Kylaq. Now I've already done a detailed walk around of the car in another video and you will see everything in detail, the exterior, the interior, the changes, the differences with the Kushaq and all you need to know in that video. This video is going to be purely about driving this car and what this car means for Skoda India. Now, firstly, this is a sub 4 meter car, so Skoda is a little late to bring in a sub 4 meter car. It is overly crowded with the likes of the Hyundai Venue, the Kia Sonet, the Tata Nexon, we have the Mahindra 3XO, and we also have the Nissan Magnite and the Renault Kiger in the same segment. Now lower down you also have the Hyundai Exter and the Tata Punch, which has been leading sales numbers. So does that mean that Skoda is late to the party? Well, maybe, maybe not, we don't know. But why is this product important for Skoda India is something that I want to touch upon now. The sub 4 meter segment, the cars that I mentioned just now, they account for about 60% of the market share in the Indian automobile industry. Now, almost forgot the Brezza, the Fronx, which are also in this segment. Now, 60% is a big chunk, and Skoda does not have a product in that segment. Now they want a piece of that pie, and which is why we have the all-new Kylaq. So what is the Kylaq based upon? Now, the Kylaq is based upon the same platform as the Skoda Kushaq and the Slavia, but this is a smaller sub 4 meter car, and in terms of part sharing, a lot of it you will find it similar to the Skoda Kushaq in the interiors, the display, the control unit for the aircon. It will remind you of the Slavia and the Kushaq to an extent. This entire piece is ditto, exactly same. It's the same unit that we get on the Kylaq and the Slavia. The display also is the same. The unit of the hardware itself is the same, but the software is different now. You have a different display altogether, and I like what they have done with this car and the improvements that have been made on this car. The steering wheel also, if you notice, it's the same, lifted up from the Slavia and the Kushaq. So all of these things were not a problem with the Slavia or the Kushaq. So when it's not broken, why change it? Skoda stuck with what was good with the Kushaq and the Slavia, and they have pasted it or implemented it with the Kylaq as well. So no complaints as such. I'm not complaining that the parts are shared. It's in fact good that the smaller car is getting parts from a bigger version or their bigger sibling. Overall, now the cabin layout is also pretty similar to the Kushaq, but there are some changes and new additions. Like this material, for example, it's completely new, and you have this green shade on it. Looks really nice. Also, you have this addition of the sunglass holder inside the glove box, which is a new addition. So all of this we have showed in our walk around video as well, but these are some highlights that you need to know that are different about the Kylaq. Also, in terms of its looks, the front is pretty different, the rear is pretty different, and overall it does have a character of its own. You can call it a baby Kushaq, but it does have its own character and personality, is what I would say. In a way, this is going to be a very important product for Skoda India, and I'm sure that they are banking on the success of this car. And looking at the car, driving it for a bit, we've come to realize that it is a very good car indeed for someone who likes to drive and likes performance. Now, talking about the engine specs, this comes with a 999cc or 1 liter turbocharged engine. We've seen it on the Kushaq and the Slavia as well in the lower variants, and this is a 3-cylinder engine that puts out 115 PS of power and 170 Newton meters of peak torque. This one, the one that we're driving right now, is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. This is not the DCT or the DHG gearbox that you get on the higher 1.5 liter of the Slavia and the Kushaq, but yes, this is 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, driving this car in the city is seamless. Drive this very easily. If you're a new driver, you're going to have no problems driving this car at all. The gear shifts are really nice, and even when you're pushing the car, the gear holds on quite some time and then shifts up. But if you really want a lot of performance, put it in the sports mode, and then the gears will hold on the revs for a longer time, and you will get a better performance. Further still, if you want complete manual controls, shift it to the manual mode. You can either use the gear lever for the shifts, you can pull it down for downshift and up for upshifts, or you also have paddle shifters, which gives you convenience while you're driving. I personally like the paddle shifters. They are much more engaging to use and much more fun to use as well. Also, you look cooler when you're using the paddle shifters. Other than that, the performance is pretty good. Now compared to the Kushaq, because it also has the same engine, this engine on the Kylaq performs a little bit better because of the reduced weight and the size of the car. This car is shorter than the Kushaq, which is 4.3 meters almost, and this one is sub 4 meter. So in that sense, it is also lugging lesser weight around. So performance on this car is better as compared to the Kushaq, is what I would say. And cruising on the highway, driving on open roads like this is absolutely a breeze. The ride quality is optimal, and the handling, this is a Skoda, so there are no complaints about handling. Steering wheel is precise. This feels a little lighter than before. It feels a little lighter than the Kushaq, but it still gets a lot of feedback. You have a lot of feedback from the road. You know where the wheels are pointed, and it is very precise as well. As you can see, a little tip and the car switches directions very, very easily. In terms of overall visibility as well, you have good all-round visibility. You have a lot of glass areas. The A-pillar is also not very huge, does not create a big blind spot, and overall visibility through the mirrors is absolutely fine, and there's no issue with that. Now, speaking about fuel efficiency, Skoda claims that the automatic will return 19.02 kilometers to the liter. We've been driving the car for some time now, and we've been able to get around 10-11 kmpl. We've been really pushing the car, going at high speed, doing some speed test runs, and not really driving it like a normal person would. But if you drive normally in the city, you should get around 12-13, and on the highways you should get about 14 to 16 kmpl, so which is a decent number. Also, the fuel efficiency figures will be better than the 1 liter Kushaq, because this is lighter than the Kushaq. In terms of outright performance, I think this is one of the best performing vehicles in this segment. We have the Hyundai Venue, we have the Kia Sonet, the Tata Nexon, the Mahindra XUV3XO. These are the prime players, and all of them get a 1 liter turbo engine. But if you look at the overall drive quality, the ride quality, the handling, the kind of drive experience this car gives you, I think this is a little ahead of its competition in sheer drive quality. Of course, features, this does lack some of the features. The Sonet, I feel, is the most equipped and has the most amount of features, but again, you have the price factor to consider. It is a little bit expensive as well. Not that the ride quality on the Sonet is bad, but this one does go ahead by a wee bit. Mahindra XUV3XO also wins a lot of points on its ride quality and handling, but again, the Kylaq will go a little ahead in terms of the ride quality and the handling. Now, this also does have some of its own features. Now you get powered seats, front seats, power 6-way adjustable powered seats, so you can adjust your seats electronically, which is a good feature. Not a lot of cars in this segment get it. You also get front seats which are ventilated, which some of the cars get. You get auto dimming ORVMs. You have the sunroof, and this does lack ADAS. We don't know if the Kylaq will ever get ADAS. Maybe in the future they will introduce it as an update, or maybe when the facelift comes out, that's when it will get the ADAS. But it is still in this form a pretty well equipped car, and it has all the basics, right? In terms of safety as well, this has got a 5-star safety rating, and it has scored full marks on child occupants, where the safety comes for the child occupants. So in terms of safety, there are no questions that this is one of the safest cars. Obviously, yes, the Mahindra XUV3 XO, the Tata Nexon also scored 5 stars. But if you look at the scoring sheets, the Kylaq performs a little bit better than both those cars. So that was the Skoda Kylaq for you. We're also going to drive the manual variant, so let's hop into that one and see what that is like. And now we are driving the Skoda Kylaq with the manual transmission. This one comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. The engine is the same as the automatic. It's a 1-liter turbocharged engine that produces 115 horsepower and 170 Newton meters of torque. And this engine has been used in the Kushaq and the Slavia, but as compared to the Kushaq, in this form, this is much more peppy. It feels more sprightly, and it is a lot of fun to drive. I mean, making overtakes with it is so much fun. Overall, the performance, you put your foot down and the car will dart forward. It is actually a very quick engine. It is a very responsive engine, and paired with the manual gearbox, it is a lot of fun to drive. And I've been enjoying myself for the last 50-60 odd kilometers, and it has been a very joyous affair driving this car. Now, given the form factor, the size of this car, it is a little smaller than the Kushaq, and obviously the weight is lower as well, which is why this engine feels much more responsive, and this car actually feels that it has been made for this engine. The Kushaq, on the other hand, is much more responsive, much more powerful with the 1.5. In the 1 liter, it performs fairly well, but the 1 liter on this car is absolutely like a match, and the engine and the chassis and the body and the weight, everything comes together very nicely. A special mention for the ride quality as well. The suspension has been tuned beautifully. We've been driving on mostly very good roads, because the roads in Goa where we are pretty nice. They are not bad. We've hardly come across very bad patches of road, and overall the performance of the suspension and the ride quality has been exceptional. Also, this has bigger 17-inch wheels, and that also contributes to the ride quality. Now, handling, of course, now when you're buying a Skoda, you expect the car to perform very good in the handling department, and the Kylaq is no different. In fact, the smaller footprint of the car makes it even more easier and fun to handle. On the windy roads of Goa, I was actually having a lot of fun, and it can actually hold itself very nicely. The brakes are also really nicely tuned. You get that stopping power when you need it, and almost instantaneously you can come to a halt. Now, since this is a manual, of course we need to touch upon the gear shifts. As you can see, they're very effortless. I'm using just 2 fingers to make the shifts, and the clutch is also pretty light. So if you're driving in traffic like a city in Mumbai or Delhi, and you're worried that you'll be tired at the end of the day, the clutch is pretty light. You will still be comfortable driving it, and the car itself is quite tractable as well. Now, if you can see, we are in the 3rd gear, and I'm just going to slow down a little bit. So we'll go down to 30, and then it just picks up speed again without any knocking, and without any fuss at all. So quite a tractable engine, you don't have to shift a lot, and overall the manual gearbox is much more fun to drive than the automatic. So if you're looking for an engaging drive and you want to have a lot of fun, you want to interact with the car a lot, you want to be engaged while you're driving, and then you should definitely choose the manual. Now let's talk about fuel efficiency. 19.62 is what Skoda claims for the manual variant, and in our testing we've been pushing the car a lot. I mean, we've not been very kind to the car. We've been pushing it across the corners, we've been pushing it on the highway, and we are able to get around 11 to 12 kmpl. But if you were driving like a sane person, you should get anywhere between 13 to 14 very comfortably, and a little more if you're driving only on the highways. So you can even touch the 16-17 kmpl mark. The 1 liter 3-cylinder engine does make some noise. As you can see, the engine will growl when you give it the gas. So I'll just shift down to show you how it sounds. So yes, there is a little bit of engine noise, but actually it's a good kind of a sound. It's not disturbing or distracting, and if you're listening to music, you'll hardly notice it. Other than that, the cabin is pretty well insulated. There is no road or tire noise at all inside the cabin. But yes, the engine grunt is quite audible when you push it. So out of the two, the automatic and the manual, this one is definitely my pick. So the Skoda Kylaq, it is a new competitor in a very crowded sub 4 meter segment, but can it hold its own? Well, in terms of performance, yes. In terms of ride quality, yes. In terms of handling, yes. In terms of features, not so much, but it is pretty much there. If you're looking for an engaging drive, a fun to drive car, and you like a good performing car, the Skoda Kylaq is your choice. Anyhow, you can go ahead and test drive this car and see for yourself if this is something that you want. Now, it is available in 4 variants: the Classic, Signature, Signature Plus, and the Prestige. And all the features of the different variants will be on your screen right now. Also, these are the colors that the Kylaq will be available in. Now, in terms of customer service and after-sales service, Skoda already has 272 touch points, and by the end of this year, they're going to have 350 plus touch points across India. And that should give you an assurance of the car and its after-sales service. So who is this car for? Now, if you're someone in the market who is looking for an upgrade from a smaller car like a hatchback, or you're looking to buy your first car which you want to be an SUV, this could be your choice. Also, this car is for someone who likes outright performance, who likes a good ride quality, and who enjoys driving. Of course, the manual transmission is a fun to drive car. The engine that this car has is perfect for its shape and size and weight. And if you want the convenience of the automatic, you have that option as well. Now, it is a suitable car for a family of 4. A 5th person will be a little uncomfortable, but you have ample boot space of 400 plus liters to carry your luggage. And for a family of 4, this is one good car that we would recommend. However, go to the showroom, test out the car for yourself and see if this is something that you would want. So that was the Skoda Kylaq for you. Let us know what you think of the car. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Subscribe to Motoroids if you haven't already, and press that bell icon so that you get notified whenever we upload our next video. This is Vipul signing off. I will see you in the next one. Until then, rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.